Have you ever jacked in? Have you ever wired tripped?
You ready?
This is not like TV only that. It's a piece of somebody's life.
Hello, Contrarians, listeners, Contrarians watchers, anybody that happened to just find this video. You were looking for something that had to do with strange stuff, or maybe you're a big fan of Kathryn Bigelow, or you just have the hots for young Ray Fiennes. Whatever brought you here, welcome. This is a Contrarians warm-up for our Strange Days episode.
For a second, I was like, did you forget the name of the movie? But
I was just stalling. Just let it come to me.
I get it. Yeah, if you just type in strange, like if you're just looking up the word strange, it's
you're one of those
fairly
people.
possible you could have stumbled along this.
That's a big roulette that you're spinning if that's the only criteria. Just go strange. Yeah. Good luck. But here we are. We have a full episode on Strange Days. It is somewhat fresh on the Tomatometer. It's a request from a patron, so we're just saying, sure, we'll do it. We talk about it as if it was rotten on the first half of the show. Then we tell you how we really feel. That's all on the main feed of the podcast. Here, we're just prepping you, getting you ready for that episode. We're going to give you some fresh Rotten Tomato quotes. We're going to give you some extra trivia. And then, of course, the Josh Gad Minute. We're going to put Josh Gad on this big 1999 New Year's party and see how he fares. So let's get into it. Let's go to the quotes first. I got 4 fresh tomatoes here. We're going to start with Margaret A. McGurk from the Cincinnati Enquirer, who says, Strange Days is a careening high-decibel vision of the near future that combines science fiction, murder mystery, and social commentary. It is not entirely successful, but it is a worthy effort. Now, the fact that Margaret calls it the near future, that means that this review is from when 1999 was the near future. I wonder how she feels about it now, all these years later. Would you say, Alex, that it is a worthy effort?
Any relation to Mike McGurk of World Wrestling Federation ring announcing fame?
It's possible. Cincinnati Enquirer, is he from Ohio?
Mike McGurk was a woman, but she was the daughter of Leroy McGurk, who was he was an Oklahoma Territory guy, so I don't know, but we'll keep dreaming. Let's see here. Worthy effort, absolutely. I think the point we nail home in the episode is, well, there's something here. We just need to figure out what it is and really zone in on it. Worthy effort is, if you're watching this right now and your expectations coming into it are, oh my God, it's James Cameron and Kathryn Bigelow, then yeah, you might be a little bit disappointed, but I think worthy effort is a fair assessment of this movie.
So explain this to me, Alex. If it's a worthy effort, why is it so hard to find on Blu-ray?
Well,
because availability of physical media is not a good way to measure success.
Yeah. I think I say repeatedly in the episode, I referenced Dancer in the Dark. That's one of my favorites, and you can't find that on Blu-ray anywhere. And for comparison, we also talk about Johnny Mnemonic in there that you kind of have to, fight not finding on Blu-ray. There's multiple releases of it, so much so that Johnny Mnemonic is so widely available on Blu-ray that it has a black and white cut on Blu-ray. Remastered in black and white. Strange Days you cannot find, to my knowledge. Hit subscribe and then comment on this if you know of any actual remastered version of this movie.
Fan rips. I mean, that's cool if you made your own Strange Days DVD / Blu-ray, but
even still, there is a Blu-ray out there, but I think the copy you and I watched on Max is the highest definition there is, and that's clearly just whatever they ripped for the DVD. So I don't know, man.
There's a point halfway through the movie where you can see James Cameron kind of standing up and walking off screen, and then he comes back. He went to refill his drink.
So on the Wikipedia page, it said it was distributed by 20th Century Fox in North America, France, and Italy, and Universal Pictures through United International Pictures internationally. So right there, you have a bit of who knows who fucking actually owns the rights to this movie right now. And did it start with the 20th Century Fox? It did, right?
I don't remember. I just remember there's no opening credits.
So, and that's something too that we come across. I think it did. I'm not sure. It's been a few days, but that's something to take into consideration too, because I forget what we did recently, but we commented on this is a 20th Century Fox movie, but it's not on Disney Plus, Hulu. So I don't know. Who knows? Maybe someone doesn't own the rights to this movie. Maybe no one wants to own the rights to this movie. Maybe
It's not a conspiracy.
it's a hot potato with Cameron and Bigelow. Like, no, I don't want this on my plate. You take it back.
All right. Well, just give us a shout if you know how to get a hold of a decent Blu-ray. What are we? Region 1? Don't give us any of the...
I think so. Region free. Just,
Yeah, give us something region
class
free.
it up.
Next, Jason Schwahan from Nashville Scene says the intervening 27 years have bolstered the film's reputation as a singular vision of the not-too-distant future. Okay, 27 years. Is that enough time for a movie that bombed? Did it bomb? You said it bombed, right? Or at least it didn't.
Yes, badly.
For a movie to suddenly regain notoriety, somehow be rediscovered, reevaluated. Is it one of the things where after 27 years, this is as good as it's going to get for Strange Days? Like if it was going to happen, it would have already happened.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. It has such a limited shelf life in that regard of por ejemplo, I was watching Secret Life of Walter Mitty, one of our favorites, the Ben Stiller remake, not the original. We're fans of both. Yeah, we're fans of both, to be fair. But Hula and I both feel that the Walter Mitty, the 2013 Ben Stiller directed one, deserves more praise than it gets. That, I feel, is a movie that literally could be discovered by a future generation and being like, oh my God, look at this movie. Whereas this is there's such a limited shelf life when you factor in the idea of it's New Year's on 2000. It's well, we know what happens. So anyone watching this now is just going to point and laugh, be like, look what this fucking guy thought was going to happen on New Year's in 2000.
It is a little silly when you look back at the paranoia of, or at least, paranoia in certain parts of the world of, the end of 1999, the beginning of 2000. There are some things in the movie that still are valid, that are still,
Oh, yes. There are
real concern.
As called out in the episode, Julio and I highlight many things in this movie that actually panned out in reality in terms of the idea of not having to live in reality, the racial tensions, et cetera, just the thesis of this, the idea is New Year's on 2000, that's when it all goes down. So it's kind of easy to point and laugh at it. But you call that paranoia, and as Michael Wincott says in the movie, paranoia is just reality on a finer scale. So
one of the best moments in the movie, Michael Wincott just comes in, pops in, walks away with the movie. Next, Cole Smithy from colesmithy.com, and this is, I guess, a quote from a video essay, but he says, Strange Days owes a debt to Michael Powell's Peeping Tom, the film that ruined his storied career. I didn't know Peeping Tom had ruined Michael Powell's career. It's the only Michael Powell movie I've ever seen. Have you seen Peeping Tom?
No.
Have you heard of it?
Yes.
Okay, so I get what he's saying, because the conceit of the camera, and here, I mean, he caters to Peeping Tom's. Ray Fiennes' character in Strange Days. He's trading on Peeping Tom footage in a way. No, he's not trading, but he's trading on footage for Peeping Toms, because you get to put that thing on, and now you're watching somebody else's life.
And I know what Peeping Tom is, because it's regarded as a very early slasher movie. It's not, Texas Chainsaw or whatever.
It's very much not
in that. But yeah, I know. I kind of understand the illusion they're making here.
I'll be curious to see if you would like it, because I found it very silly. It was
silly.
Yeah,
that was one of the when Shudder did their top 100 moments in horror, or I can't remember what the countdown was, but that was very high up there.
It's when they put Citizen Kane as number one, whatever. It was I understand the context, the historic importance, but I am a person that lives in the year 2023, so when I see it, it's really hard to.
You're where's Thanos?
Yes, where's the CGI? How much CGI on Strange Days, Alex?
There's got to be some.
Those are all wigs.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Ray Fiennes' real hair. Trying to think of where. Oh, yeah. The sizes of the crowd, in the end, and then the giant screens with 2000 and that type of shit. That would have to have been some sort of
They just cloned AI. to populate those big parties.
But like, there's real squibs, and I tell you what, that wig that Tom Sizemore wears is practical.
Yes. All right. Final quote. Matthew Turner from View London says, engaging, genuinely thrilling sci-fi, enough to make you wish Bigelow made a movie a year. Nobody should be making one movie a year.
No.
That's just for for the
As
audience.
the
for
Marvel
them.
system has proven, and almost collapsing into itself, that's not how you do it.
But Kathryn Bigelow, I mean, could we at least stand more movies from her? Like something a little more frequent than what she does.
She does have we talk about this some in the episode, not quizzical or like strange, just a very pronounced filmography that she has.
Yeah, I mean, there are titles that I think everybody knows, and then there's some that are more obscure. I don't even know what the last thing she did. I mean,
she won Best Director and Best Picture for Hurt Locker,
yeah.
but also made Near Dark, 20 years before, which is like a lot of people's, favorite horror movie.
Point Break, I mean, it's something that comes up constantly, and I don't know that many people know that it's the same person that directed Zero Dark 30.
Yeah, it's exactly right. And then, of course, Zero Dark 30 was nominated for Best Picture in Detroit, which we bring up in the episode. Neither of us have seen, but, since 1981, when she first directed a movie, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. She's directed 10 movies since then, and 40 years, and so it's clearly someone who knows what they want to do and want to be as a filmmaker, and really only does that. And it's a strange assortment of films.
She's like, I don't feel like doing another vampire movie, so I'm going to do a war movie now.
She won the Academy Award for Best Director, and has made directed 10 movies, and one of them is Strange Days. That in of itself is strange.
Yeah, well, I heard James Gunn is looking for people that want to direct the new slate of DC movies. So maybe now she feels like making a superhero movie.
I'm sure they're fucking lining up after the Blue Beetle.
All right, well, those were the quotes, Alex. Before we go to trivia, it's time for the Josh Gad Minute. Let's put Josh Gad in Strange Days. And if you say that he's going to replace Tom Sizemore, I'm not going to fight you too much, but...
No, Tommy Size, we need as much of him as we can get. I honestly thought he would replace Vincent D'Onofrio.
Oh no, racist Gad.
I don't want to hear Josh Gad yell the N-word. But all too often when we do the Josh Gad Minute, we're very interested in, singing or, the comedic relief or the lighthearted affairs that he could provide. Why don't we go with Dark Gad? The
darkest
timeline of Gad.
Man, once
or if you do want to go the kind of comedic relief and kind of, he's goofy, he can be Tick. He can be, yeah.
But then he dies horribly. I guess Vincent D'Onofrio also, he gets gunned down.
He dies horribly either way.
What's his name in Frozen? What's the name of the snowman that he
Olaf?
plays? Olaf. Yeah, I think once you hear Olaf dropping the N-word, there's no going back. I mean, you're ruining kids forever.
Yeah, I mean...
You gotta protect the brand.
Wasn't Vincent D'Onofrio Kingpin?
Yeah, but that's okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a bad.
You're not ruining anyone's childhood with that.
No, people were like, "Oh, that makes sense."
You're ruining the kids who grew up on Men in Black. You're ruining their childhood.
He was a roach. He was a space roach. Still, yeah. All right. Well, I think that was easy. Yeah, we'll. You
either have Evil Gad or you keep him as like kind of the lighthearted.
We'll make him read for both parts and just see which one he fits better. Does he have better chemistry with Fitchner or with Fiennes? Like, who are we gonna pair him with?
There's that great SNL skit of line reading for 12 Years a Slave. They have Keenan playing Steve McQueen. and he's just sitting there, and like this white guy comes up, he's just auditioning for the part of like an extra or some shit, and he like opens the script and he's like, oh no, 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 no.
All right. Well, Alex, let's go into the final stage of this warm-up. Let's go to the trivia.
Strange Days. They were strange days. Directed by Kathryn Bigelow, written by James Cameron and Jay Cox, an Academy Award decorated trio. Premiered in New York on October 6th of 1995. Was released throughout the rest of the United States on October 13th of 1995. A budget of $42 million with a box office return of around $8 million. It was not well received. A major box office bomb, Strange Days nearly derailed Bigelow's career, making little more than a sixth of its budget. Upon release, the film polarized critics. Some reviewers praised its gritty atmosphere and the performances by Fiennes and Bassett, while others criticized it for failing to comment on its violence. Nevertheless, the film's critical standing has improved over the years, with many fans feeling that the film has been overlooked by a casual mass audience and misguided critics. At the 22nd Saturn Awards, Bassett won Best Actress, and Bigelow became the first woman to win the Best Director award. It was actually nominated for Best Science Fiction Film.
Do you think Cameron was in the audience, just like clapping? Just very...
So, for context, for who Kathryn Bigelow beat out, David Fincher for 7, Terry Gilliam for 12 Monkeys.
Oh no! Now it's personal. Now it's Jaws 4.
Joe Johnston, Jumanji, Frank Marshall, Congo, Robert Rodriguez from Dusk Till Dawn, and Bryan Singer for The Usual Suspects. Well, he deserves to lose, but I'm just looking at these lineups now, and like, what a fucking year 1995 was for action movies, man. You had 12 Monkeys, Judge Dredd, Braveheart, Goldeneye, Heat, 7, Apollo 13, Batman Forever's on here. It's a hell of a lineup. But whatever the case, Ralph Fiennes was nominated for Best Actor, lost out to George Clooney and From Dusk Till Dawn. Angela Bassett. Oh, even more boo. Listen to these other nominees here. Pierce Brosnan, Goldeneye. I mean, Pierce Brosnan is my James Bond for my lifetime. He's my James Bond. Ralph Fiennes, Strange Days. Morgan Freeman, 7. Robin Williams, Jumanji. I mean, the beard. What year is it? And he beat out Bruce Willis in 12 Monkeys.
No. We riot like the people at the end of this movie.
Angela Bassett winning Best Actress, beat out Kathy Bates for Dolores, Celeborn, Nicole Kidman for To Die For, Sharon Stone, The Quick and the Dead, Madeline Stowe, 12 Monkeys, and Marina Zudina for Mute Witness. I mean, come on. Thankfully, they did kind of throw you a bone there, Julio. Best Supporting Actor did go to Brad Pitt for 12 Monkeys.
There you go.
Best Supporting Actress, Bonnie Hunt. God, these are so much more fun than reading the Academy Awards from that year. Director Kathryn Bigelow found that no existing camera system could accomplish the shots necessary for the point-of-view sequences, so the research division of Lightstorm Entertainment, parenthetically the company of writer-producer James Cameron, who was Bigelow's husband at the time, spent a full year designing and fabricating a special camera for the production. Weighing only 8 pounds, the 35mm camera literally fit in the palm of the hand and featured interchangeable lenses, remote follow focus, and video assist necessary since the camera had no viewfinder. The camera was then mounted on a Steadicam style rig, which gave the camera stability and mobility similar to the human eye. For Strange Days, for this movie, James Cameron was doing the type of shit he would do for Titanic and Avatar.
This was just a warm-up. This was his research. He just wrote Strange Days as this thing on the side that he could use to test his equipment and just kind of shake off
tax write-off.
Dude,
like he was doing the initial drafts of Titanic and Avatar at this time.
He didn't realize that this was actually gonna get a theatrical release. He thought.
Well, the thing is, he's not in charge, so he's not gonna get blamed when this tanks. But he can test all his equipment out and then just end of the year tax write-off. All right. Well, this was for work, that type of thing. So
he was not at the Saturn Awards or any of the ceremonies. They have nothing to do with this.
He came in like the Elephant Man with the big collar up around, like, in the top hat.
He showed up like at 11 or 11:30 just to pick up Kathryn Bigelow after the ceremony. He was just waiting outside.
What's that legendary Denzel story? I'm leaving with something. He talked about, like, grabbing something backstage at the Oscars. I can't remember that whole story, and I'm sure someone listening to this knows what I'm referencing. But Juliette Lewis did all of her vocals for the performances of her character.
That's a shame.
Cool. We talk about Juliette Lewis and her musical conquests at length in the actual episode. Lenny Nero's 1997 Mercedes-Benz S500 was a prototype loaned to the production by the manufacturer. So again, this movie lost a lot for a lot of people. Mercedes, it's when Herb, Homer's brother, voiced by Danny DeVito, shows up and he lets Homer design a car. This is what he would design, and it tanked the whole industry for him. Imagine if this movie had succeeded. If this movie had made as much money as Titanic or Avatar, that would have been the status symbol of like the new millennium, was the Mercedes-Benz S500.
Imagine how it would have changed Ralph Fiennes' career.
Dude, 90s action star Ralph Fiennes. That's the most interesting thing about this movie.
He would be Ethan Hunt. Forget Tom Cruise. It would be Ralph Fiennes.
And he would have been
in Magnolia. She basically takes over Tom Cruise's career.
And he would have been Billy Zane in Titanic. Because we would have, like, way more so than Billy Zane, we would have, at that point, this alternate timeline, we would have bought Ralph Fiennes chasing after them with a gun. Would have been like, oh my God, he's going to kill him.
I don't know that he could have delivered the classic, I hope you find peace together. What is it? Enjoy your time
I hope
together.
you enjoy your time together. James Cameron did extensive editing work, especially on the final action sequences, but he could not be credited because he was not in the editors union. We talk about this in the actual episode. He joined before making Titanic and is credited as an editor on that film. So he learned a lot of stuff on this. What we're trying to get at here is that James Cameron, became the true, like, political supernova of the industry that he is now through Strange Days.
He used Strange Days to level up. That was his workshop.
That's right. That's how he got his XP, like, shot through the roof after this.
It was a side quest. He could have chosen to stay on the main quest and just go straight to Titanic, but instead he went on the side quest of Strange Days and came back more powerful than he could have imagined.
When the character Mace, Angela Bassett, is delivering a speech to Lenny, Ralph Fiennes, about how memories are designed to fade, Lenny is crumpling in front of a poster of elephants, a well-known symbol of memory. Director Kathryn Bigelow was asked at a special screening if this was intentional, to which she replied, "No, I'm going to have to ask the art director about that."
Well, I'm glad it wasn't, because that would have been a little too much. I like it as an accidental thing. I don't like it as a pretentious, like, let's put symbolism everywhere. It's a movie about Tom Sizemore wearing a squid under a wig, so we don't really need much more symbolism than that.
And when he gets his hair ripped off, he looks like Eddie Kingston.
Yep.
And in closing, because this is the type of shit I live for, in the United Kingdom, the film was broadcast on BBC Two on December 29th, 1999, the day that the events of the film take place.
Were the riots? It's the United Kingdom. They're a lot more civilized. I think that they were probably just like, oh my, just grab a biscuit.
They exclaim at the gunshots and their monocle falls into their tea.
Like, America's wild.
All right, I'm sorry. I wanted to close with that, but I forgot to read one other point I had here, and that is the cartridges used for the clips are Sony mini discs, while Squid decks are retrofitted Sony mini disc players, a new technology introduced to the public in 1984. Discs were engineered to be recordable and re-recordable, but sales of the technology, which came at a high list price, were poor, and the line was abandoned by the company. Do you remember mini discs? That's why I saved this one. I wanted to ask.
Like little discs, like little CDs, but small?
Yes.
I had a camera, I think. If we're talking about the same thing, I had a video camera that recorded on discs, like mini discs.
Yeah, so I remember they had like mini disc players, and I remember kind of into the mid 90s, like specifically I remember seeing a Pearl Jam album at a Best Buy on mini disc, and not knowing what that was, and my cousin like explaining it to me. They had another like, I forget what they were called in the, probably right at the start of the millennium. Like they were about like this big, and that they only had like singles on them, but you had like this little player that was like this big. They just never took off. It was like once things got down to about this big, people were like, all right, I either need it on my phone or I don't want it at all.
Can't take myself seriously. Listen to this tiny thing, unless
But I
it's
think
from
that
Apple.
that is literally something of, being the ages that we are, Julio, of like, if someone watched this movie today and was born past the year 2000, they would just be like, what the fuck is that? Is that a floppy disk? What are they holding there? Because I kind of recognized what it looked like that they had. But I thought that was funny. The idea of like, again, if this movie had taken off, who's to say that mini disc players and mini disc weren't going to be, the wave of the future? As seen in Strange Days.
I mean, that's
Angela Bassett, like like the soundtrack for Batman Forever. When I want crystal clear audio, I reach for my mini disc.
Now you see her driving her limousine, and she just reaches over and changes the mini disc.
Kiss from a rose.
No, it would be the Fatboy Slim track.
Yes, right here, right now.
Listen to the episode. It makes sense. All right. Well, that was Strange Days. Like I said, full Contrarians Corner, full real talk on the main feed. Check out the podcast if you're not checking it out already. Coming up next, we can't escape musicals, Alex. We had The Commitments not too long ago, and now we have a different kind of band. I don't think that we're supposed to know how to pronounce their name, but the movie they're in is Frank, allegedly starring Michael Fassbender. But you'll never know because he's wearing a giant styrofoam head through most of the movie. Super fresh, so we'll be saying really mean things about it. Check it out, then check out the episode. And but first, listen to our Strange Days episode. Thank you for checking out this podcast. I can already see that Alex has had enough of Frank. I had that one comment. So this should be fun.
We also forgot to mention Son of Gleason that we have in that.
Yes. Yeah.
And son of Gyllenhaal, daughter of Gyllenhaal. Yeah.
Yes. All right. Thank you for checking this out, and we'll talk to you again soon.